Bellator 280, Bader versus Kongo 2, May 6th, going down at the Acre Hotels Arena in Paris, France. Way to go, Bellator. What a fun time for all your fighters and staff. Before we get into, I believe we're going to talk about the co-main and main event, but any other fights or fighters that you guys want to spotlight for our listeners and viewers?
I'll leave the other one for Omar because I know he likes him too. I will spotlight Soren Bach. If you don't know Soren Bach, so first of all, he's fighting Charlie Leary on this card. If you don't know him, he is 15-1. He's one of the brightest prospects in Bellator right now. He beat Paddy Pimblett for the Cage Warriors title by the scores of 48-44, 48-45, and 48-46. So you can't get clearer than that win. And he is going to beat Charlie Leary in this fight. He is a stud, and we will see how quick he rises through these Bellator ranks here.
Cool. So the guy that I'm definitely on the lookout for is Lorenz Larkin. Love me some Lorenz Larkin. Anytime, anywhere. That boy is there to fight. Definitely a dynamic striker. If he has a weakness, I guess it would be his ground game. But the kid's been around for so long, he definitely knows how to style on the ground if he needs to. But his bread and butter is definitely on his feet and his kicks. So I'm always here to see Lorenz Larkin put on a show. Sign me up.
Yeah, I don't know why he's been so inactive lately. I don't know if it was like injuries or what, but I do want to say that I heard today that this fight is at middleweight, and apparently he plans to stay at middleweight now, which is actually interesting because if he could make a run to Mousasi, that would be a pretty fun fight.
Yeah, man. It does make you think of it'll make a big difference in the way he fights. 'Cause that's an extra 15 pounds. I mean, he's a fast dude. That's kind of one of his things is being fast. And so I wonder if he keeps that attribute once he goes up in weight.
He's done it in Bellator. I want to say he fought Rafael Carvalho and won at middleweight. So he's done it, but we will see.
Okay, so a bout between Yoel Romero and Melvin Manhoff was supposed to be the co-main event for Bellator 280. However, you guys may recall that Melvin Manhoff had to stop some burglars from entering his home in Amsterdam a few weeks back. He stopped the burglars, but apparently he sustained some kind of injury or injuries from the encounter and pulled out of this fight and was replaced by Alex Polizzi. So, Mark, why don't you go first and preview for us Yoel versus Polizzi?
I did not realize that's why Manhoff is out. That's wild. Yeah. All right, odds-wise here, you got Yoel as the favorite at -165. Alex Polizzi comes back at +135, so fairly close.
That's very close.
Short notice fight for Polizzi, as Mike mentioned. He may honestly be the tougher test than Manhoff, though, at this point in Manhoff's career. He's 4-1 in Bellator. His only loss is to Julius Angliscus. That's his only loss in his whole career, mind you. He's 10-1. He just looked very good in his last fight. He's 30 years old, so 15 years Yoel Romero's junior, whereas at least Manhoff was a fellow old man. Yoel, who I love, who I will always love, is so hard to evaluate. If he's going to continue mattering, first of all, he needs to win this fight. I still don't think he should be fighting at 205. I would love for him to go down to 185 in Bellator. But Polizzi is not a long or big light heavyweight, which helps. They're actually just about the same size. So I don't want to go into some huge analysis because it's Yoel Romero and who even knows what he's going to do when the cage door shuts. But hopefully someone tells him how many rounds are in the fight, and hopefully he remembers that he's allowed to throw punches or use takedowns. And I'm just going to hope that the idea of there's levels to this still applies and that Yoel Romero has not sunk to a level where he is going to lose to Alex Polizzi. So I will take Yoel Romero by unanimous decision, and I don't know what I'm going to do if he loses this fight.
Omar, give us your take of Romero versus Polizzi.
So I don't trust Romero to actually know how to win a decision. I feel like Romero's going to end up being in this fight doing this for the crossing guard, right? The air traffic controller for 3 rounds. And then by the end of the fight, he's going to be like, hey, what happened? Why you no fight me? He no fight me. He no come forward. He no fight me. So that's kind of what I expect. So I'm going to go with Polizzi by decision.
Okay. I like that. So we got Polizzi by decision. Mark, what was your pick again ultimately?
Romero decision.
You went Romero by decision. Fuck it. I'll go Polizzi by decision with Omar.
You guys are terrible people. Terrible people.
Okay, so after Mr. Ryan Bader defended his Bellator heavyweight title against Moldavsky, he is making a quick return to the Bellator circle, facing Czech Kongo in a rematch from their 2019 fight at Bellator 226. If you recall, that bout ended due to an accidental eye poke to Kongo's left eye in the very first round, resulting in a no contest. And we're back with Bader and Kongo, hopefully getting the fight that we should have gotten the first time. Omar, why don't you give us your take on this upcoming fight and ultimately your pick?
So while you guys know I'm not the biggest Bader fan, I will acknowledge that I frankly feel like Bader is the better fighter amongst the two. I think he's just a lot more well-rounded, especially now. His hands have definitely gotten better. I don't think they're the best hands in the world, but they've definitely gotten better than what he had before. He's a lot more effective, a lot more explosive, and he's a lot more accurate with his strikes at this point. And Kongo has shown a vulnerability with his chin in the past. He has shown the ability to weather storms as well. Let's not give credit where credit is due, right? He definitely takes he has taken a lot of shots, and while his legs always they've failed him in the past, they have quickly backed him up as well in a lot of situations. So while it's difficult to say Kongo will be put out completely, I will say Bader will win at the very minimum by TKO.
Mark?
Second round.
I now fully understand why Czech Kongo got this title shot before Fedor did. I did not realize until I started thinking about this card that this was happening in Paris and that Bellator had this Paris event on their schedule. So what better way to headline a Paris event than with Czech Kongo fighting for the heavyweight title? So that all makes sense now. Hopefully if Bader wins, we're still going to get him and Fedor. But, yeah, we already have the narrative and the bad blood built into this rematch. Mike mentioned the eye poke a few years back. Bader at the time said his hand was on the nose and that Czech already wanted out because he realized, how easily he could be taken down and that Bader was controlling him. Czech was livid at that. He demanded that Bader admit it and apologize. So there's some heat there. They've definitely exchanged some words since. So this is a rematch that needed to happen, especially since we didn't even get a winner the first time. The fight had barely started. So unfortunately for Kongo and for the fans in Paris, I agree with Omar. I think this is mostly one-way traffic. I have been impressed with Kongo and Bellator. I really have. But I just don't think he can stop Ryan Bader's game. And I don't trust his cardio in the type of fight that Ryan Bader is going to put on him. His chance is probably to catch Bader early, and obviously Bader can be caught. Plus Kongo will have like those magic MMA vibes of trying to win a title in his home country. But I've said it on here before, I trust Bader's chin way more at heavyweight, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's either a clear UD for Bader or a TKO where Kongo is just tiring and Bader gets him out of there. So I'm going to go with that route. I'll say Ryan Bader, a lot of wrestling, tiring Kongo out. By round 3, TKO, Ryan Bader ends still.
I agree with both of you, and I will go Ryan Bader round 4, TKO, maybe a rear naked or something like that. I'll say Czech Kongo looks like he should never lose a fight. Maybe one of the most impressive physiques MMA has ever seen. The guy looks like a damn action figure. But that being said, yeah, I agree. I think Ryan Bader's skill set is going to win out here, and I think he's going to just slowly overwhelm Czech Kongo. And Czech Kongo is going to tire with all that muscle he carries around. And in round 4, I think we're going to see Ryan Bader find top position and probably pound him out for victory. And still,
Bader is a pretty big favorite as well, which I forgot to mention. He's minus 400. Kongo's plus 310 the other way. So the bookies see it similar to us.
And big shout out to Bellator. Quarter 1 and quarter 2 hitting us with double Hawaii and a Paris event. I mean,
it's valid.
Shout out to Bellator. That's big work right there.
Globe trotting. It's like, and they like set us up to be surprised because they're always just like Mohegan Sun, Mohegan Sun, Mohegan Sun, Mohegan Sun, and then they're like, boom, Hawaii, boom, Paris.
They got London soon too, right? Or somewhere in the UK where the MVP card where he was supposed to be fighting Amosov for the belt.
Good for
Now
them.
he's fighting Storley, right?
It's just,
But yeah,
it's just
that's coming
also
up soon.
noted that the UFC is working on all of these things or whatever, but
Right.
UFC is going to be second now in that race, right? Like, UFC might put on a better show. That's totally possible. But at the end of the day, Bellator put their flag there first, man. They were in Hawaii first, and they were in Paris first. And it's a big deal. So good on them.
Yep.
Good for Coker.
Yeah, man.